Hopefully he doesn't miss it.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't. Yeah, it's a bit sad.
Shall we make a start then? So
Yes,
people can
yes,
watch it back.
yeah. So, well, welcome if anybody's watching. um, so we thought we'd do this little live. You suggested it, and I thought, what a great idea, because I'm always banging on about how great EFT is, and people do know about it. People probably know about it from the perspective of calling it tapping, but it's great to get the perspective of somebody who has added it into their toolkit, who previously was a coach and still is a coach, but you've got this added extra tool in your toolkit. So yeah, I would be really interested to hear your journey over the past year as well. So thank you for suggesting this.
Thank you for coming as well.
Well, this is my first IG live, so So should we start off talking about like what EFT is? Because some people might be like, well, what is it?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Do you want me to go with that one?
You can do. I can chip in with my perception as well.
Yeah. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And many people don't know it by EFT. They'll probably know it by the tapping. And every time I say tapping, I always do this. I don't know about you, tapping. And it's based upon the acupressure points. And I always say it's like a psychological form of acupressure. We know that there is a meridian system, and we can measure this as a vascular system, we can measure it. And we know when we stimulate certain points on this system, the meridian system, it can inhibit things in the brain. It can cancel out signals like that can cause us issues. It calms down the amygdala in the brain, which has a knock-on effect on the hippocampus, which is the memory part of things. So the amygdala is the emotional response for their fight or flight. So it calms that down and it helps us to reprocess. Um, I I always like EFT more than, I would say, if I had a choice between all the therapies that I've trained in, and I've trained in a lot over the past 20 odd years, I would say EFT would be the one, because it's simple, anybody can do it, and you have a physical, a cognitive, and an energetic shift. So you shift your mind, you shift your body, you shift your energy, because as we know, trauma isn't just here. Trauma is stored in the body as well. So yeah, I think EFT is my favorite. What about you?
I would say exactly the same.
Would you?
And I remember the conversation that when I first called you, you said that, and I say the same to all my clients. When I introduce EFT, I say it's by far the most impactful modality that I use
Mm-hmm.
because it's instant.
Yeah. It is. And I mean, there are other therapies that are equally as impactful. Like I use advanced clinical hypnosis. And, when you do particularly the regression and such like that, really good. But you need a therapist to do that. With EFT, it's a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And people can do it themselves. There's a lot of people who do the tapping. They'll say they'll do the tapping, and maybe they've picked it up doing videos online, which is great. There's loads of stuff out there which people can use, and they say you get about 80% benefit just going through the videos. Imagine what you can do with like minimum 3 days training, and you're learning all the techniques within the techniques, and that's what you did,
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, because people assume that it's just this. So when I do, like I call them tap meditation classes, and it is this, but obviously I'm guiding. But I do say kind of at the end of my sessions that there's techniques within the technique. It's not just this. And I think kind of people just thinking it is just this dilutes what actually emotional freedom techniques is, and how it can get right down to the root cause and really free that intensity you know, remove that kind of energetic blocks, etc. So yeah, whilst it's easy to do this on yourself, obviously it's powerful doing it one-to-one.
Yeah, that's it. I think it is probably the most powerful and the most reliable. I know that if I have a client come to me with a particular issue, maybe they've got a trauma that they've experienced, maybe, you know, a real acute trauma, maybe it's an abuse or a rape or something that is very, very, you know, impactful. I know that within that one session, will be able to deal with that, and they will feel transformed, you know, at the end of it.
Yeah.
Or grief, you get people who are stuck particularly in grief. There's a grieving process when somebody passes, you know, but if somebody is 7 years down the line and they still can't think about that individual without crying, or they try not to think about that individual and they don't have pictures up because it's too painful, then they're stuck in that grieving process. Usually they haven't gone through the acceptance of that person not being there. And EFT, you know, just tapping that through, I know, you know, in just one session, after the end of the session, they're getting all the pictures out and they're thinking about that person and smiling, you know. So yeah, it's just so reliable and yeah, so quick. I'd be interested to hear like what your big kind of wins are with your clients. Have you had any? I'm sure you have loads.
Do you know what? I would say it's more my group stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think the way I've introduced it as a group, because when I done the training, and I was so intrigued when he said a tapping circle, I was like, oh, I can do it in a group. And obviously it was about somebody focusing on something and everybody else will benefit by tapping as well. But the way I've introduced it, we actually have it as a meditation. So I guide the session and we have a theme for the session. So for example, it could be overthinking, it could be managing emotions. It's always specific to everybody can tap into it. And everyone's lying down on a yoga mat with the cushions, the blankets, all very lovely. And I just go through 6 rounds. And I don't do much talking. I'll just check in between rounds, then check in at the end. From those that blow me away, because people are blown away just by that. They, you know, they can come into a class as a 10, they're like, I just don't even know what I'm thinking about anymore. And I'll see people days later and they'll say that they've had this massive emotional shift, that they've completely changed. I had one woman and she's completely changed by coming to the classes, and she puts it all down to tapping in the classes. So for me, it's more like the macro scale because it's more people.
Yeah, it is. And that's the beauty of it. We have, as you know, a thing called borrowing benefits. And you probably remember that because that's what you're talking about, borrowing benefits. We can all gain benefit just even from working with one individual. You know, you might be working on yourself, tapping at the front. And if everybody's tapping along, everybody gets the benefit. The way that was discovered, Gary Craig, who's the founder, who's discovered EFT, he was working with people at the front of the stage and people were tapping along and they were getting relief and things popping up, and as well as the person that he was working on. So, I mean, I've done it where I've worked, you know, I do a lot of corporate work. So I've had like probably 100 people in an audience with a couple of, well, no, 4 people at the front. I had, we're doing it on cravings. So after, in between the break, I said to one person, right, don't have a cigarette, don't have your chocolate, don't have your crisp, and don't have your pop. And we were tapping, and they all like were like, oh no, I don't want that now after a bit of tapping. But people in the audience were, oh my God, I just realised why I eat biscuits, because it reminds me of my nana, you know, things popping in their head. So yeah, it's brilliant for groups. And if you think about like therapy and the help that people need, it's really cost effective way of doing it for people as well.
Yeah, because like you said, it's only a couple of sessions, like 2, 3. So when I have like my individual one-to-ones, they're like, well, how many I'll need? I said, maybe three. I said maybe three at the most, but you know, have one, just wait a couple of weeks, see how you settle, then have another one. And then they're absolutely blown away, changed.
It's amazing.
They say it's magic. That's the feedback I get. It's magic, like magic, they say.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I love it. Um, I mean, what were you doing before, like tapping? I know you're a coach. Was it like NLP and things like that, mindset shifts?
So I literally, going back a year ago, so I'd literally only gone self-employed, kind of the back end of 2023. And I had my other, so I was also employed because I literally was made redundant. I don't know if you remember that I was going through a redundancy at that point when I'd done my training. So I'd worked in kind of addiction, recovery, mental health. So I'd like facilitated groups, deliver staff training on like different wellbeing things, that kind of stuff. So like with my business, I'd only just started the coaching not long before, but I'd already been in it. I was already delivering accredited mentoring courses and all sorts of different training. So it just kind of slotted in really.
Yeah, no, that's good. So has it opened other avenues for you, or?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I introduced like an intro workshop to tapping, just so people can use it as a tool for themselves, and so they've got a bit of an understanding. Um, Obviously, I've got my groups now. When I do it, particularly with my ADHD clients, so I do ADHD coaching. I'd say probably 80% of my clients are ADHD. I introduce it as a tool if I know they're susceptible to something like this. So I gauge first if they've done, like, if they mention meditation or breath work, and I think, right, okay, there's something here. And usually it's for feelings of overwhelm and anxiety. So
Mm,
I introduce it as a tool for them to use themselves.
yeah.
Families as well. You know, people approach me, and I think I reached out to you when I first started because I had families reach out. I was thinking, oh, this wasn't my intention, kids. But
Oh,
it's been lovely because I've introduced it in the family. So I've introduced it to like, the older child, and like I have the first session with the family, and
yeah.
then I have it with a couple with the child. And that's right. And I've done it to a group of teenagers as well. And that was great. It was teenage girls, and they were all into crystals as well. We had the crystals out. It was for a charity, and they absolutely loved it.
Oh,
They were blown away by it. And that session I'd done with them, tapping was just like one tool within the session, but the feedback was they all loved the tapping.
yeah.
But
People always remember how you make them feel more than what you say. Yeah. And tapping really, really makes you feel different in a good way.
mm-hmm.
It's interesting you talking about like kids and teenagers. Schools are starting to pick this up. I was invited onto a podcast. Did it a few last week for the schools advisory service. So they look after like I think about 5,000 schools in the UK, and their well-being lead, the director of well-being, he's like, oh, tapping, will you come on and do something to tell our schools about it? So I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't specialize in kids, not directly, because I do a lot of inner child working. I work on the child with the adult, but not kids direct. So if you understand what I mean. But I thought, what a great opportunity for people. So I think that's just gone out. Yeah, it has. I shared it. So if we can get it into schools, that is where it needs to be, because it's so simple. And can you imagine like a whole classroom of kids who are able to emotionally regulate, who can have a tool that can just get rid of stress, anxiety, exam stress, because what have they got at the moment? Do they do anything?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it should be any kind of tools for wellbeing should be taught in school, and especially tapping right from a young age, so it's normalised.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be on the curriculum rather than your Pythagoras theory and sine, cos,
Mm.
tan, and all that stuff. I mean, who uses that, right? I don't know. My son, he did like a year of French, a year of German. He doesn't remember any of it. It would have been better to have a year of something else. There's a statistic, I think, I can't remember the numbers. It's something like 5,000 and something people die by suicide every year, or 6,700 and something. Forgive me if I'm wrong, versus 1,700 and odd people die by road traffic accidents. We hear about like car crashes and stuff, but we don't hear about the suicides on the news, right? But a lot more people die by suicide. And when we're at school, we're taught about the Green Cross Code. Yeah, we're taught about not swimming in reservoirs. We're taught about not going on train tracks. Taught about fire. Don't we had a elephant who scared the hell out of us. Big elephants, fire safety. More people die by suicide than all of those put together. You know, how many people were taught how to regulate their emotions,
Mm-hmm.
or how to talk
Yeah.
about how they feel? So things are changing, like I say, with, you know, organizations like the School Advisory Service. You know, they're trying to do their bit, and I'm sure there are many schools that do a little bit, but yeah, it's a little bit slow, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
It needs to change. I actually wrote a book for kids,
Mm.
because you'll know yourself, you know, you see so many people who've gone a lifetime with anxiety, and after a few sessions they'll say, why didn't I learn this years ago when I was a kid? Because it's usually something in the childhood. So I did the book basically to introduce it to children, because they need to know this stuff. Yeah.
And it's great that parents are starting to explore other avenues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Such as, like, you know, the families that I've worked with, the you know, the group, the teenagers that I delivered, you know, parents are kind of starting to open up about, you know, alternative ways
Mm.
that, because tapping still is, I think it's not as woo woo now,
No.
but to some it's not the norm, because we're kind of conditioned into counselling as the only option.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I like about emotional freedom techniques is changing the narrative that it's not the only option, there are other options.
Yeah, totally. And I see this with the businesses that I work with. So I supply therapy to individuals who are in the workplace who aren't coping, and the workplace pays for the sessions. And these are businesses, large businesses, who have EAPs, employee assistance programs, who offer the conventional counselling, the CBT. And what they'll say is, okay, you can go this route, like the EAP, or you can go this route, and they describe it as something a little bit different, and they give them the choice. I usually have like a triage with them first, just to make sure that, you know, my route is right. If it's something like grief and they need grief counselling, I may pass them through to one of my counsellors. But yeah, businesses are. I had an email today of a business saying, "Can you come in and talk to us about your app?" I'm in the process of developing a tapping app. So businesses are actively asking for it, and you know, kids aren't my thing. If I get inquiries, I'll pass the kids over. But businesses are. I like to what I call bring the woo into the boardroom,
Mm-hmm.
and bridge that. And you're right, it is being more accepted at that level.
Yeah, and I think organisations are definitely kind of ahead of the game now.
Yeah.
Majority that I see.
Mm. Yeah, because it's quite miraculous, and you won't get these miraculous changes, or you know, I'd love to hear about them if you can, with things like CBT. And I'm not knocking it, you know, it has its place, but if you've got a really deep-seated trauma, CBT isn't going to touch the sides.
Yeah.
There's other schools of thought that will maybe we shouldn't go back. Maybe we should just look forward. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Don't go backwards, just go forwards.
Do you know what? In one way I agree, but I think it's nice to have a bit of both, because I think you have to look back just to unearth, to move forward, to get to that route and move forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this.
Yeah.
Because it kind of combines both. Well, it does combine both.
Absolutely. And it's funny you use those words, root, get to the root and unearth, because I use this like kind of metaphor. You know, if you've got a garden and it's you want to see a nice garden and you've got loads of weeds planted in that garden, you wouldn't just throw some nice seeds in it and hope that the flowers grow. You want to pull out the weeds and then throw the seeds in, right? And so I mean, this going back, there is no going back. Everything we know, time, linear time as we know it, doesn't exist. It's all happening in the present moment. And so we're not going back in time, we're going back within. We're going within ourselves and we're healing those parts of us that have felt that trauma, that are still feeling on some level, still feeling anxious, fear, guilt, sadness, whatever it is. And we heal those. And then we create in this present moment the future that we want as well.
I like that, going within, because it's to your body, that intensity, that emotion is still real, because it's attached to something like previous. So your body's kind of just on a loop, just acting the same way as it would previously until it's freed, gone, and we learn how to move on.
Yeah. I do think people who don't deal with the root of it, totally missing a trick. It's like having an anchor anchoring you in the past, proverbial past, and you're trying to move forward without actually just simply lifting that up, and then you're more able to create that life that you want. So yeah. And it is quick, and I mean, it works physical, doesn't it, as well? Have you done any physical cases? Pain?
What was that? Sorry.
Any pain or anything like that?
I once tried it on my son for a toothache.
How old's your son?
Who's 25.
Oh,
And
is he like, oh?
No, do you know, it was all right actually. It was quite sad. One, he was like, he was sat there in the chair. I went, oh, just try this. And he went, oh, it's gone.
Amazing. It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember on the course we were doing, I was demonstrating how to do pain management, and I was working with Laurie and we were doing it on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That pain's gone now, apparently, last time I spoke to him. But there was another lady there and she was working on a hip. Do you remember? And her hip went down. It was a persistent pain, was it? It was about an 8 out of 10, and it had been for 10 years or something. And she said, oh, it's gone. Like, because she recognized the emotional root of it. And yeah, and that was what, like 20 minutes of tapping. It's not always that easy, but it can be.
And the hip, that's where trauma is stored. A lot of emotions are stored in the hip, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are different parts of the body that say, you know, store different traumas. I know, I don't know all of them. I know the back is very much about support, obviously, and the knees and such. But yeah, trauma, yeah, very much in the hips as well. Yeah, so it's very powerful.
Definitely. Another thing that it's just sprung to my mind, actually, I was going to say something else then, is that I introduced it to a couple of people to incorporate it into their facials. So one girl, she calls it an energy, what does she call it? Energy release? Energy something facial. And another one, I can't remember what they're called now actually, but they were really good names, but I can't remember. So yeah, I actually did training with them and we incorporated their facials. And this one woman one of the girls, she'd done this facial on one of her clients that had been coming for years, and she now has a facial every week. She says, I don't know what you've done to me then, but it transformed her.
Amazing. What does she do? So when she's got them laid down, she's tapping on them.
Yeah. So I kind of incorporated head as well, as you would like an Indian head massage, because you've got a few like meridian points there, haven't you? So we incorporated the head. So I did kind of integrate kind of that aspect as well. But then when I looked at how they done their facial,
Yeah.
and then we incorporated the tapping points and hands as well. Like, yeah, the gamut. So when they were doing a massage on their arms and hands,
Yeah.
there as well.
That's a really good idea. You know, I've never heard of that. I know there's a girl that I trained who does sort of beauty and with hypnosis, you know, like and such. But yeah, I've never heard of that. That's a really good idea.
Mm.
Yeah, because I suppose the less stressed you are, the younger you're going to look, right? As well. If you're stressed all the time and you know, scrunching your face up and your energy is really stressed in that sympathetic nervous system constantly, and you're not in that rest and relaxation. So the more you can get into that, the younger you're going to look as well, right?
Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
sell it.
I just think there's so many opportunities that when you're training tapping, and I think my head was blown last year because I thought, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I can do this. And I had to kind of like stop myself. And however lovely it was to work with like the beauticians, massage, I thought, oh, it's not really what I want to do. Also, I'm used to like delivering training, and I can deliver practical sides as well. But I was just so excited at the beginning. What else can I do?
So what is your thing then is like the groups and the ADHD, and great name by the way, chaotic mind coach with ADHD kind of goes together, doesn't it? What's your niche then, would you say? Where have you sat with it?
So, well, probably with people with a chaotic mind. I kind of chaotic mind because it's when people are in that chaotic state. Obviously, ADHD people with ADHD is quite often in that mind. So it's definitely people when they are kind of chaotic. However, I have two approaches with coaching. I have a transformation approach and therapeutic approach. ADHD is so like the therapeutic approach, I can bring that element of EFT and use it where we can go deeper and then look at moving forward. So we have got that therapeutic aspect as well. And the transformational element, well, or difference in coaching is very forward. It's not going back, but I will introduce it if somebody kind of wanted it. Even like manifestation, I've done talks on like using it for manifestation. So even that kind of aspect. So the transformation is very much based on what they want to work with, but it's very forward. Yeah, and obviously I do the meditation groups as well, go out to organisations, businesses and do training there.
Amazing. It's great for manifestation. Amazing, because if you have like you've experienced something, and we know trauma isn't what happens to us, it's what happens within us, when in relation to something that we've experienced. So we might experience, I don't know, we get bullied in the playground, and then we say, I am not worthy. We make that decision in mind that the world is dangerous, and those beliefs stay with us, and we manifest through that filter of belief. The consciousness comes in, goes through the filter that has all the writing on the walls. I am not worthy, I'm not good enough, people don't like me. And then what comes out, what is manifested is our reality. So if we can change those beliefs and clean that filter, I always see it like a Brita filter. If we clean that, then the creative process, we're starting to create different things, because we're not creating through the lens of I am not good enough, I am not worthy. Yeah, really, really powerful. You
I
can.
would say, you know, I've been into kind of law of attraction. I don't really like think, oh, I manifest. I just think of something and it happens. But when I started to use tapping, I just thought, I can't remember when it happened. I think it happened that I went to a group. I went to actually my old organisation, and I worked with a recovery group, and I introduced it to there, and we introduced like positive affirmations, you know, at the end, and it was like, you know, good things. I deserve good thing. I can't even remember what I was saying, but along those lines. And I got home literally half an hour later, and I had an offer. Somebody wanted me to do some consultancy work for them. I was like, oh my god, this is literally half an hour. I thought, is this for real? I tried again. What did I do? I'm pretty sure I've messaged you at this point with some things. And since when I tried again, I thought, this isn't working. I'll try again. And then it happened again, and it was just instant. And I thought, is this really working? And then I've done a couple of talks on it, and I told these stories, and like even January, I'd done my meditation class, and it was all about setting intentions for the year, and kind of inviting like good stuff, positive energy, all that kind of thing. And then I got out the class, and then I had an email that somebody wanted to go ahead with coaching, and it was a big order. And I thought, oh, bloody hell, that was quick. And then I think it was a week later, I'd done my second class for this exactly the same class for a different theme for a different class. The same happened again straight after the class. I had an email with someone else, another big order. I was like, this is crazy. And Adele, I even tried it for a house. I thought, is this
Might as well.
happening? I thought, let's just see what happens. See if I tap for a house. Nothing in particular. Well, my neighbour, who's now since died, she, cut a long story short, she offered us a bungalow for £50,000. And we're like, is this for real? I've just literally tapped for a house, just randomly, no house in particular, and then I get offered a bungalow for £50,000.
There's no such thing as coincidence.
It was crazy. I've not got the bungalow, by the way, but the opportunity was there, and that's what it creates. It's like it breaks down everything in your way and speeds up time for it to happen.
Yeah, that's it. It removes the obstacles, because that house that you want already existed. Those clients already existed. You just needed to be a vibrational match for them. And I do, affirmations are so powerful anyway. I've manifested so many different things with affirmations, and I do them every day. I am whole, perfect, powerful, strong, loving, harmonious, and happy. That's my thing. But I combine them now with tapping. I call it tappamations, because the tappamations are so powerful, because with the tapping, what you're doing is you're releasing resistance, so the subconscious mind will be more likely to accept what you're saying. So on the app that I'm developing, I've got a tappamation section, and it's about just repetition, tapping, repetition. It has to be long enough, you know, you can't change it daily, because you want to make those new neural pathways in the brain. So you need, you know, a good few days to be doing that. But it's clinically proven to release the resistance, which makes the subconscious mind more likely to accept that affirmation, rather than just saying it. And you know yourself, when you're tapping, you really feel it in your physiology as well, which you need to do. It's more of an incantation, you know. I do mine in the car, so you don't even need to physically tap. As you know, you can just imagine, and I just imagine tapping whilst I'm saying affirmations, and I'm like, you know, focusing my energy on certain points whilst I'm doing the tappamations, and yeah, they work so well. What are you gonna manifest next?
But it's not something I really like think about consciously. I'll just be like a passing thought, and then it just happens. So I kind of, God, I've no idea. I need to. At the moment, I'm focused on kind of like my business, so I need to think what my next step is, I
Yeah.
suppose. Well, I am thinking of my next step. I've got things in the pipeline, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I don't always think, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want to attract. It just kind of happens. I just
Yeah.
think it happens.
Just be a major manifester. I mean, we're all manifesting all the time. The key is, are we manifesting what we want? Are we consciously manifesting? And I think, with EFT, we can definitely do that. I don't know what my cat's doing, but I can hear a lot of paper being torn. What's he doing? He's like ripping up paper like that underneath the desk. I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, it is. It's really powerful. The affirmations I find are super powerful.
I love that. I tap in the shower.
Do you?
Yeah, mine's in the shower. I have a little tap in the shower, then do a little writing on my shower screen.
Ah, that's a really good idea.
Statement. That's because I find that I I say one of the cons with tapping is spots. And obviously for me, because I'm doing it all the time, it's all the time, most days, I end up with spots here, here, here.
Do you?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yeah.
I've never known that. My gosh.
But I'm prone to spots anyway. But I just found that when I started tapping, I'd always kind of get one here, especially after my classes.
Wow. Well, spots, it's your way of your body expelling any toxins, isn't it? So maybe maybe you're releasing toxins out of those points.
I've got a body full of toxins then, if that's the case.
Tap on it. Tap a toxin. God, I've never known that. Well,
Yeah, I say this in my groups, or if I've done like a workshop, I just say I can't even remember what I say the pros are now, because I always say there's a pro, there's a con. But I always say, yeah, spots. And I have had people that have come to my class and like, nah, you're right.
wow. Gosh. Now that's in my consciousness. I'm going to experience that now, aren't I? Now it's on my radar. No, there's so many things you can use tapping for, and I think the more people that pick it up, the better. We're so reliant upon other people to heal us. It's like I'll go to the doctor to heal me. I'll go to a therapist to heal me. I've been in this game for like a long time. I've never healed anybody. Nobody is in need of healing. We all have the ability within ourselves. It's just sometimes we need to take a few layers off. We're not broken. We just maybe got a few things that we need to release. And sometimes people need a therapist or a coach in order to do that. But what I love about EFT is you can do that yourself as well. You can do a lot. I would think if somebody's got some real deep traumas, then it would be advisable to work with somebody, trained. But yeah, I think for the day-to-day things like cravings, confidence, pain management, even, you can do an awful lot. But even like you say, with the trauma, it's not like you have to do years and years of therapy. It could be just 2, 3, 4 sessions for a lifetime of trauma that you've carried around with you, because you don't have to deal with it all. You can deal with a bit of it, the biggest bit, and it just falls.
Yeah, and even if people, weren't ready to like work there with trauma, just that I had a coaching session this afternoon. It was kind of talking about the uncomfortableness of emotions. Like, well, those are always going to be there. We don't like to sit in that uncomfortableness. It's not nice. It's shitty, feeling shitty, isn't it? When because she comes to the session, I was like, "How are you doing?" She goes, "I'm pissed off." So I mean, we didn't do tapping in that session, but it was so interesting to. We just don't want to feel that emotional intensity, and like just using tapping can reduce it. So even if you don't want to go and go to the root cause, you can still use tapping just to reduce the intensity of emotions.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, me, I'm just like straight to the root cause. You know, that's I love doing the deeper kind of trauma work. But you're absolutely right. Some people aren't ready for that, and it is a great way to manage and regulate, self-regulate. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. It is amazing. There's loads of things you can use it for. Loads of things. So I think for anybody out there, do we have any questions? Actually, I don't know how this works, but
yeah, you can say if there's any questions, just write in the comment box.
Okay, if there's any questions, write in the comment box. I think if anybody's out there thinking of doing EFT, give it a try. Find a video online first of all, and just tap along, saying the words. If you feel like you want to tackle something maybe a little bit deeper, maybe you're not quite getting where you want to get to, seek somebody else, contact Natalie, because it's not years and years of therapy. It could be just one session and it's transformative. I've had people with like chronic fatigue, and we've dealt with that, and they've no longer got chronic fatigue. It's
Mm.
the underlying emotions, when you deal with that. And you're right. I think, so many people don't want to feel, and they'll do everything that they can not to feel. They'll drink, they'll smoke, they'll take drugs, they'll eat, all in an effort to tranquilize those emotions. And sometimes, when you're looking to get rid of those things that you're tranquilizing with, if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to get over an addiction, we need to look at, well, what purpose are they serving? Because they are just a solution to a problem. They're a solution to an underlying problem, something you don't want to feel. You're pushing it down. So with EFT, you can very quickly get to that emotion, heal it, so you don't have that need for tranquilization. So it's good for all sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And this is why I like to use coaching alongside, because you can get in there, get rid, but then some people can be kind of like, oh God, I don't know what to do now. So how do I manage going forward when things do happen? And then it's looking at what other tools can we introduce, strategies to move forward, to continue, well, to be able to manage going forward as well.
Yeah. No, brilliant. It's good. Well, I've got another course if anybody wants to do EFT. I'm doing courses, and the next one's in August in Manchester. I'm doing it face to face. There's a lot, and online actually. Do it like a dual hybrid kind of delivery, because I don't know about you. Do you work online? I tend to do
Yeah.
a lot online, yeah. So it's good to have that mixture of being able to practice, and it's a very practical course, isn't it? I demonstrate, talk you through it, and then split you up to work on each other. So you get lots of practice as well, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best trains I've ever been on.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I do. And I think you made it really special. There
okay.
was something really like soulful about the training, and I think having people together, it just felt, it was, I think I think the group was amazing as well. Like
Yeah.
the conversations that we had, yeah, it was just really soulful. And obviously me and Laurie had the advantage of having that lovely sound healing
Ah,
as
yeah.
well.
Sound healing. Yeah. That was quite powerful. Yeah. Was it just the two of you who had that? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, it was. And I find that people do bond on the course because you are dealing with your own stuff, and nobody's, on their own. There's always synergies in what people have experienced, which is great because it's like a whole pot of healing going on throughout the training course. So you're not only getting like the learnings and the experience, you're getting the healing yourself, which is
Mm-hmm.
so, so important. I mean, you don't have to be fixed end product. Nobody is, you know. You deal with your own stuff, then you've got your generational stuff to deal with, and then collective stuff. There's never an end to it. But if you've got something really big lurking that you haven't dealt with, it's advisable to deal with that before you start helping other people. Because, you know, God forbid you get a client who's got something similar and you get triggered by the client, it's no good for you or the client. So it's a really good opportunity to, although it's not therapy, as you know, there's an opportunity for that, and self-introspection and healing as well.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely felt that come through. We all did. We all did. It was, yeah, it was such a lovely experience. And I think with you, Adele, it's the aftercare and the support after, because you're so accommodating that I could just send you a voice note and have a little ramble about something, and then you'll give me your perspective on it. So it's the support after as well that you're amazing at.
Oh, thank you. Well, I want you to be the best you can be, you know, and I know what it's like to do a course and then be out on your own. When I did my very first course, it was a clinical hypnosis course. I did it down in London at City University with Valerie Austin. And then finished the course, went back up to Manchester, didn't hear anything. That was it. Me, hypnotherapist, like, you know, no support, no nothing. So I kind of just did it all on a win and a prayer. I got it right, you know. Well, there's a couple of things I got wrong along the way. Hold my hands up. But I think it's really, really important to have that peer support, not only for you to become the best that you can be, but just having that support, because you are going to come up against things, and probably come up against quite a lot of the things that you might come up against, and I'll be able to advise you on that. And so, yeah, it's best for everyone, really. But yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I don't think I've ever given you a testimonial either.
No, you are. Do you know what? I rarely ask for them. I'm crap at things like that.
You did though. You did. And I'm
Did
like,
I
yeah,
ask?
I'll do it. Yeah, I haven't done it. And I was looking on your website the other day and I thought, oh, and that's when I clicked and thought, I've not done a testimonial.
Ah, well, a nice video one would be lovely. Maybe I
There
should
we
just
go.
put and chop what you've just been saying.
Put this on. Put this on. Yeah, that's a good idea.
No, a video testimony would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I tend to, if I'm doing a website revamp, I'll put a message out there, new testimonials. But yeah, that would be amazing. I'm no longer doing the hypnotherapy training at the moment. My focus is on Tap Away, the app Tap Away, and the EFT side of things, purely from a perspective of it's empowering the individuals, you know. So yeah, that's going to be my focus. So I might ask you for one.
Yes, I'll be happy to give one.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I don't know if there's anything else that we need to discuss, or have we done? Was there any other questions that we have for each other? I was just intrigued to know your journey over the last year. It's great to know, and I like seeing all the things that you're doing. You know, the circles, and now listening to the meditation side of things that you're doing. It's great.
Yeah, and all thanks to you.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's thanks to me. Thanks to you for booking onto the course. You know, I facilitated it, but no, it's ultimately thanks to yourself. You know, you did that for you, so that's good. Was it a good investment? I hope so.
Definitely, definitely. Because when I done it, I remember obviously I'd just been made redundant, and I was like, it just felt right. It
Yeah.
felt right because I was looking for another tool for myself, and I thought, why don't I just train and add it onto my services? And yeah, definitely. Yeah, like the investment in terms of kind of like how much you pay, you get that back straight away.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
you know, all the courses that I've been on, I've paid thousands for different courses. The EFT course for the 3-day practitioner, I've actually put it up first time in years, because everything's gone up, you know, and I'm no longer doing it from home. I've got to hire a venue and stuff. So it's like 595 to become a practitioner. And the skills that you get for that price are like outstanding. You know,
Mhm.
I've paid like 3.5 grand for another course, which taught me a lot, but for what you will get and you'll be able to do with the 3 day course, far outweighs anything else. It's set at that price. I'd charge loads more for it, but that's like the going rate. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's worth so much more. But yeah, that's the going rate, so I keep it at the going rate. But I think I'm not just saying it because I do it and I provide it, but I think for the 600 quid you're getting so much and you're able to do so much with it afterwards. Yeah, it blows my mind.
Yeah, I'd agree that it should be more. I would have even paid more now, having been and done it and seen how it impacts your business,
Yeah,
like return of investment. It's worth more than that.
yeah, I agree totally. Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been lovely chatting with you. It's been really, yeah, we should do more of this. Thank you for um, being online, suggesting it. I was like, yeah, well up for it.
Thank you. It's been lovely. It's like a catch up.
So if anybody is interested in sessions, go to Natalie, because yeah, you are brilliant at it, coaching and EFT. I know because I'm actually case studies. And anybody looking to do any training, come to myself. There's a 1 day introduction, and that's for you to learn how to do it on your own, on yourself or your family or your sons. And there's the extra 2 days, so it's 3 days in total to be a practitioner. There are other things that you need to do, like an online exam and case studies as well. But then you can work with clients as you do, and yeah, really, really beneficial. Yeah.
Definitely, 100%.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time this evening. Lovely to see you.
Thank you. Bye, Adele. Thank you, people, for joining that watch after as well.
Thank you, what?
The people joining and who watch after as well.
Yes. Yeah, I'm forgetting about them. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.